You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back. It is Monday, time to kick off yet another broadcast and indeed another trading week out there. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Hope you're having a good start to your trading week. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Hope you were suitably spooky on this Halloween weekend. I had a good time spooking all the kids here in the area, having a good time out there, giving out the candy as you do here on the old All Hallows Eve. Hope you had a suitably fun one. Of course, if you want to have all the fun coming at you, make sure you subscribe to the full network wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And of course, for those of you who are ready, who are daring enough to venture forth, hopefully you got your name in the hat last week for a chance to win the Pro Trading Crate for the month of October, which we will be giving away this week on the network. So stay tuned for the winner of that. Get your name in the hat for next month's theoptionsinsider.com/pro. That'll also get you in there. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get it dialed together in November. But the next Vol Deathmatch 2.0, looks like it's on the horizon. So that should be a good time. Flowmaster taking on Scott Nations. 2 men enter, only one can leave. Who will emerge victorious on the next Vol Deathmatch? Stay tuned for that. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get access to all that cool stuff. As we see who's joining us for another cool show on the old program today, the old OB episode 1 for the week, we are joined, as always on the Monday show, by the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com, as well as by the uncleest of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, who spent his spooky Friday winning a playoff game out there in the Illinois high school ranks. So ballyhoo to him as they keep climbing the ranks, as we keep climbing right on into a little bit of 80s trivia challenge. Here we go. All right, so here we go, listeners. A little bit of 80s trivia challenge time. As our resident loser in chief, the guy who we pretty much decided has to win every week. He has to win out the rest of the year now in order to protect, perhaps, hopefully, if he's lucky, come away with yet another trivia challenge belt. None other than Uncle Mike Tosaw. Uncle Mike, sir, the floor is yours. Which color are we going with this week?
Sports and leisure.
Sports and leisure. All right. I did check before show. There is no wrist wrestling, so I know it's usually a 5 delta on the show that is wrist wrestling at any given week, but not this week, I can assure you. All right, here we go. Ready? Get your hands on your buzzers, gentlemen. I will make sure the chat is nice and visible. There we go. All right. Quite simply, where is Candlestick Park?
Buzz.
I got first.
It looks like you were in.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It shows on mine that I did.
Oh no,
It
actually,
shows on mine out first.
Andrew was first on mine too. Yes, and I heard him first.
But
Candlestick
hearing
Park.
means nothing.
But I see him in the chat first too.
Okay, and I'm going to challenge this answer after he says it, by the way. Go ahead.
But yeah, so Rock Lobster.
I'm going to send a screenshot.
Rock Lobster.
I'm going to send a screenshot.
Uh-oh. Gonna come to fisticuffs. Rock Lobster with his
Candlestick Park is in San Francisco.
Yes, it is. That is
Wrong.
the answer. Now, what is Uncle Mike? What is your challenge? Give us your challenge.
It doesn't exist anymore. So that is my challenge. Andrew did not disclose that in the answer.
I didn't know I was required to.
That's hilarious.
Well, your
I
answer
guess
is
you know
incorrect.
what?
It's
Emmett Field
non-existent.
doesn't anymore. But didn't that where the Brooklyn Dodgers played forever? But it doesn't exist anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the tense of the question is, where is Candlestick Park?
I like it. Hence, there was a question that was written, probably 40 years ago or close to it. So if I was a generous man, I'd say half a point for making me laugh, Uncle Mike. But I will not do that. Instead, 1 point fully for the Rock Lobster as we keep on rolling right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, buddy, welcome to the trading block, the portion of the show where we break down what the heck is trading out here. I see a lot of talk in our chat about the weekend in our fantasy league. Yeah, it's another wild one. I'm having quite the fight there with Mr. Rich Excel. I am alone in first place right now. We'll see if I can hold on to it. Oh, the Queen dropping one. I lost one to Nichols too. Nichols is sneaky in there. His team record looks terrible, and then every once in a while he comes along and your team just decides not to show up. At least that's what happened to me. And so he ended up scoring one against me. He's my lone loss on the season. But yeah, looks like the Queen going to drop one as well. So hot stuff. We got, someone's going to take it to Overby out there. Take it to that Overby guy. You know, he was just on Oddities on Friday. He wants to do a fantasy football show on the network. He's all fired up. So give him a nice little drubbing over there. Are we getting a drubbing out there in the markets right now, listeners? The answer is no, unless you're hanging out in the Dow. The Dow is off about 1/3%. So we got another mixed bag heading into the start of the show. S&P up about 1/4%. NASDAQ up about 2/3%. So very much a day where it kind of depends where you hang your hat in the market, what kind of day you're having. Fixed cash coming into the start of the show was right about 1765 still, so up a little over a point from the Thursday show, about 1.15 points. So it's trending down to about close to 17.5 now as the show has commenced a little bit, but still vacillating in that 17.5 to 1765 range. So still comparatively frothy compared to where we've been in the cash. VVIX also retaining its luster north of the par strike, hanging out at 105 as we kick off the show, up about 3 points from where it was on the Thursday show. All right, around the horn we go. First, out to our victor, at least for right now, in the trivia challenge, a.k.a. the traffic cone wearing Mr. Rock Lobster. He doesn't want the Clam Pirates to accidentally fire upon him. He wants to be visible from across the pond there with his orange cap on. Mr. Rock Lobster, sir, you lived in San Fran, right? Did you ever go to the old Candlestick? And then B, what are your thoughts on this market?
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I happily lived in San Francisco for, 15 years, a 3-year stretch and like a 12-year stretch.
Yeah, diehard hermit and recluse that you are now. That sounds wild.
Yeah, I know. I have to say, San Francisco in the late 80s, early 90s, and, the 2000s, 90s, 2000s. .com boom. It was a happening place. I just say, that was there. Willie Brown was the mayor, and he was, I'm just going to say, Willie Brown was an effective mayor.
Oh.
He did it his way, Willie and Frank probably got along. I used to walk by Les Central on Fridays, and Willie Brown with his 3 homies were in there, like Wilkes Bashford, Nick to something, and some other patrician type dude. And the 3 of them are there playing darts and, and having dinner or lunch at their favorite table. It was pretty cool. But he ran a tight city.
So he's like Mussolini, highly dubious, maybe even definitely shady, maybe murderous, but he made the trains run on time, is what you're saying.
He did. Willie Brown, I would say, who is not in that category. But,
yeah, maybe not quite as murderous.
The parks.
Definitely shady.
Yeah, he had, and in the Tenderloin, he's like, okay, the homeless get 1 square block. That's what they got. And after that, the city was pretty tidy. You could walk San Francisco all night long back then.
No, Chicago was much the same. We had the dailies for generations, and they were shady as hell, but they made the trains run on time and kept the city looking clean, right?
Yes.
So that was the deal.
Kept it tidy, And Chicago, I used to walk around that city too in the 90s when I was a youth. But anyway,
I've only known this reclusive phase of the rock lop. I didn't know city slicker rock lops. That would have been fun.
City slicker. I got a closet, a wardrobe in my closet that I like. I basically I have to stay in shape just so I can fit in it again.
I want to see Prowl in the Tenderloin rock lops. That's what I want to see.
Well, that did happen actually sometimes. Anyway, that was many, many, many years ago. 25 years ago, to be quite honest. Oh yeah, Candlestick Park. You know what? Soldier Field was cold, but you didn't have the wind. When the wind came up in Candlestick Park, man, that thing was frozen. I wonder if Tosaw played football there, but I guess when you're playing, you're hot. You're running, you're doing your thing, but just standing in the stands at Candlestick, man, it was cold. It was cold, cold, cold. Anyway, what's the market doing? We're waiting for this shutdown to, I think money is running to just big tech. Like it kind of reminds me of when was the last time we sort of had this? Where the dollars are just going to the Mag 7 and nowhere else. And that's kind of what a lot of the trade looks like right now. People, they're just, it's what it is. They're unsure. Both sides are digging in on Capitol Hill. It's pretty funny. I don't know why we pay Congress when they don't show up for work. I find that odd, but since I don't think people should pay themselves. I don't think that works very well. It certainly doesn't work well for Congress. Actually, it works well for Congress, but not for the citizens of the U.S. So I would say last week, earnings were pretty good. Amazon trading all-time highs, Apple all-time highs, most big tech. And there was another OpenAI deal announced today. So I think their commitments are now $580 zillion total.
I think I just signed a deal with them while we were just talking. So I think you and I are the last 2 to do it, Mr. Rock Lobster.
I wonder what kind of terms they're going to get being the last guy.
We get kind of some crappy terms, but we still get the 20% pop.
Yeah, we get the pop. It kind of reminds you guys remember that Mel Brooks comedy, The Producers? When Bialystock keeps selling shares in the flop. You thought, and then all of a sudden, what was it? Springtime for Hitler.
Yes.
Becomes the biggest, the surprise comedy hit of the season. And now he has to pay his investors back. Again, this is kind of the OpenAI thing is like.
Are you saying OpenAI is springtime for Hitler? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's, I'm not privy to all these internal workings, of course. I just, how do you make deals with all of these guys? And then I see interviews. He's like, we got all kinds of revenue. Like, okay, but that certainly creates, it creates that upside glow in tech. This is not the first time people have been giddy about technology. And we're very close to all-time highs. I think at this point, traders, investors, and I think just the average person would like to see Congress do its job and, create some kind of close to a balanced budget, within our lifetimes would be great. And I think stocks would do well because mostly, the U.S. works. A lot of opportunity, a lot of things, a lot of opportunity abounds for people. But we somehow have a Congress that can't do their job, which is very sad. So I think that's the reason why VIX is still in the 17 handle. Yet, investors are forward looking. They're figured these knuckleheads will figure out the budget situation, and we just pray for term limits. I guess that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe term limits will help. But the economy chugs along, technology chugs along, and that's where we stand currently. But right now, money is hiding or running to the protective arms of big cap, big tech trading at a 28 multiple or 30 multiple.
Money is running into the open arms of springtime for Hitler. There in the AI pub. I used to have a broker on the floor when I first got down there, when I first got into the equity options, and he was a big fan of the producers. The original, before the play came out, became a huge hit again. And anytime the day was slow, he would turn to me, old Brooklyn guy named Peter, Italian guy. And he'd say, "Hey, devil." I'd say, "What?" He'd say, "You ever heard of the producers?" And he'd go on about it. I was like, "Yeah, you tell me every time." He's like, "Yeah, the producers. Springtime for a Hitler. You got to see it." It was all the time. And then, of course, the play came back and became a huge hit, and everyone knew about it. But for years, I was hearing about Springtime for Hitler, way before.
You had the inside track.
I did. I should have bought in on that redo with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. They made some money on that. But I digress. Whenever I hear that, I think of that guy. He was actually one of the few good guys down there on the trading floor. But I digress. We head on over to Uncle Mike. Is he a good guy? I don't know. We're seeing kind of the dark side of Uncle Mike in this trivia challenge. When he falls behind, the darkness comes out. But that said, it didn't fall behind this weekend. Uncle Mike, congrats on the victory. I hear through the grapevine that it was offensive line play that was key to the victory. So congrats to you, sir. And then not so much on today's outcome. And then what's catching your eye in the market, sir?
Well, if I had to pick a victory, I would pick it for the boys instead of me. The Rock Lobster, in all seriousness, has been, how can I put it? He's kicked the living crap out of me this year. So, yeah. But I do still claim umbrage on some of the things that have happened. I do think that the host has made the outcome more lopsided for the Lobster than it's needed to be, because you guys are all those old Chicago trading cronies, and you guys know how that goes. So, but with that being said, even if it was a non-rigged match, my hat's off to the Rock Lobster. He has won fair and square, even though Longo did cheat to make it more of a humiliation. So, and we've had listener mails to even prove it. But with that being said, this last Friday night was fun. We take on the boys from Carmel of Mundelein this next Saturday night. They have a quarterback who's a verbal commit to Nebraska, so we'll see how we can do this Saturday. In terms of markets, we're off the all-time highs by roughly 1% that we made last week. We have, like Andrew's saying, there's a lot of movement into tech lately, not necessarily a ton today. I mean, we're up 0.6% on XLK. That's the only thing that's up today. That and consumer discretionaries in terms of the sectors. So there is some people taking bites taking some nibbles in tech today. Not a huge move, but there definitely are a few things that are happening, to say the least. A couple things that are lighting up my tape today. Apple is actually down today. It's down 1%. It's back below the 270 level. So that is actually a thing. Apple being down, it's kind of crazy. AbbVie is actually down 2% on the day. So that's actually pulled back a pretty decent amount over the course of the last week or so. So we have that. Some of the things that are going up on the day today that are moving the markets up, Taiwan Semiconductor, that is up almost 3% on the day. So we're definitely getting a move in there. We have some movement to the downside. Another one that's lighting up my tape today, Merck. Merck is being a jerk if you own it. Merck is down 3% on the day. So getting a move to the downside in that. Bitcoin is down today, so that's always a good thing whenever we see Bitcoin down in the day, by all means, of course. Some other things, Nvidia just keeps going up. That's up 4% a day. That's putting a big push into the market. Amazon up 5% on the day. So we're getting some ups and some downs. The ups are outweighing the downs, but I would say on the market today, it's definitely more of a mixed bag with what is happening. One of the things that I also think is happening is some volatility movements in silver options. I will discuss that in the strategy block, so stay tuned. In the meantime, back to you, Mark.
Let's stay tuned for some flow out here in the options market today. Is it a hot day in the world of options? Well, if you just hang out in VIX land, you might be checking your screen saying, hey, are these machines on? Only 281,000 contracts on the tape in VIX land right now. That's against an ADV of closing in on 1,920,000 out there in VIX land. So VIX, a long way short of its ADV. It's got to get into gear out there. I'm not sure what it's waiting for out there today, but not a lot going on. The hot option out there today, such as it is in VIX land, 27,000 back to the dark side, and once again out to December. It doesn't seem like anybody cares about November right now. It's all D's all the time. D's 18 puts, trading for about $1.26. You like those? Are you down for those, listeners? Or are you out there with a little bit of sold to you action? I think maybe we'll put that out for a little bit of a fun flash poll, see what you folks are down for. You folks always like a little bit of VIX action. We'll see what you folks have to say a little bit later in the show. Let's do a quick top 5 just for fun here in VIX land. Number 2, 15,000 of the Nove 25s. 76 cents for those bad boys. Number 3, 14,000 of the Jan 50. So we are all over the place. Number 4, 14,000 of the D16 half puts. And number 5, about 12,000 of the Nove 18s. Now that's what's interesting. VIX kind of not even waking up today. SPY already closing in on nearly 6 million contracts. 5.76 million contracts, so pretty well on its way towards its ADV of 9.6 million. The S 2.4 million already, the ADV 4.4 million. So you see those two kind of bangers out of the gate. You'd expect VIX to be doing at least 400,000 or 500,000, but nope, we're not there. VIX just hanging out in Sleepy Town. Small caps also kind of roaring out of the gate today as well. Already 1.3 million contracts on the tape in small caps, so an absolutely banger day out here in small caps. Let's take a quick sojourn into small caps, shall we? See what's lighting it up. Right now, it's 91,000 of the 233 puts. Small caps are weird. If you listen to our hot options report, which you should check out after the bell today, got some fun new stuff going on that show. Small caps flirt with 0-day or they flirt with 1-month contracts. Today, it's the Nove 233 puts dominating the tape already. Nearly 100,000 of those going up, about 91,000 of those. Average price, $1.75 if you're wondering. So it's been a lot of Nove downside lighting up the tape in small caps over the last few weeks, and today appears to be no exception. Let's look, there's a lot of, in fact, small caps, interesting. I'd say it's probably 50-50, 0-day, and then contracts expiring all over the place. We got D's, a lot of D's actually. Some Nove, some contracts expiring today. One expiring in June, the June 190 puts, trading $3.12. So all sorts of madness going up here in small caps today, which makes that market so interesting. You know, you go to SPY, you go to the Qs, it's all 0-day. I get it. Small caps, a little bit more mixed, which is fun. The ADV is 1.75 million. That's already high. And we're already threatening that already. That's kind of wild. And then the Qs, 2.75 million contracts. The ADV a tick shy of 5, about 4.9 million contracts out there. So the Qs, you know, they're going to be all 0-day all the time. But let's go out to the single name, shall we? Is it a banger? Is it a hot day in the single names, listeners? The answer, unfortunately, is no. It's not even at our threshold of respectability. You got to cross 350 to break into the top 10 to be considered respectable in this game. Not quite there. 345,000 contracts on the tape today. That gets us to our old pal, the Monster, a.k.a. Strategy Class A. That doesn't even sound as fun as MicroStrategy. So yeah, no fun. Uncle Mike called it earlier. Bitcoin giving up a little bit today. And the Monster looking a little bit less monstrous right now as well. 264. Flip that around. 264.70, off about almost $5 or nearly 2% on the day so far today. That's for number 10, the Monster. Number 9, this is a newcomer to the top 10. This is Cipher Mining Inc., ticker symbol CIFR. I have a feeling this is not a traditional mining. This is the more Bitcoin mining. Oh, yeah, that is the case. Looks like they have maybe some deal going on with Amazon, perhaps. Either way, the stock roaring to life today. 22 and a third, up about 370 or nearly 20%. So Cipher on the rampage hit about 25.11 earlier today. On the year is another one kind of straight up. A year ago, you could have bought, on election day, you could have bought the Forever Call for $5.04, and now it's trading $22, got as high as 25. And you know what? That was wasted money all the way till August. It was still about $5 in August, and then in late August, it started drifting up, and then it's kind of been on this tier ever since. So quite the tale out there in Cipher. Tell you what, it's our first time around the sun with this one. Let's look really quickly and see what's going on. What's lighting it up out here in Cipher? I'm going to guess it's near dated upside, and that appears to be the case. Nove 25 is expiring this week, not even in the monthlies. Going up 18,500 times. Average price for these about $1.03. So those were looking a lot better earlier this morning than they are now. But hey, you know, this is a wild name. It could be at 40 by the end of the week. Who knows? So we'll keep an eye on these. You like those, listeners? Nove 25s for $1.03. Somebody did this morning, nearly 19,000 times for the number 9 spot. Number 8, out to SoFi we go. SoFi has been vacillating around this 30 handle for a while. That is the case again today. Open below it, rallying above it now, trading $30.82, up about $1.14, or a little over 3, about 3.25%. Good for 416,000 contracts, and the number 8 spot. Number 7, to Beyond Meat we go. What a wild trajectory this thing has been on over the past month. Today, looking comparatively staid, only about a 19-cent range, hanging out $1.45 right now. Off a wee bit on the day, about 12% on the days, as important as percents are in a sub $2 name. Either way, number 7, Beyond Meat, 436,000 contracts for the number 7 spot. Number 6, the Fruit Company, as Uncle Mike alluded to. Clutch your pearls. It is below 270, listeners. 267.84, off $2.50 or about 1% today. So my goodness, I feel the same shock to Paul nature that Uncle Mike is. Just can't believe it. Fruit Company in the red. Number 5, it's Palantir. Wow, they're making up for lost time. Hit a new all-time high today, 206.06. That's pretty much exactly where they are right now. Just ticked up again. So they're up $5.50 or 2.75%. New all-time high. Wild times here for Palantir. Number 5, 501 on the tape. Number 4, it's Meta. Meta got shellacked last week. Hanging out today, 500. Again, we're all the way up at number 4, only 532,000 contracts. It shows you kind of what a light day it is, listeners. Meta number 4, 643.86, off about $4.50 or not even 1%. Good for the number 4 spot. Number 3, the Amazonians had wild earnings, wild upside move last week. Continuing the love fest today, 256.81, up about 12.60, or a little over 5% today. Good for number 3, nearly 1 million contracts. That's a spicy day for the Amazonians. And then number 2, you know what it is. Tesla, back north of the 4.5 strike, back north of the 460 strike, threatening 470. 469.12 for Tesla, up a little over $12 right now, putting up 1.3 million contracts. Will it be there by the hot options report, or will it plunge back to some other crazy strike? We will find out. Number 1 today, it's NVIDIA. Uncle Mike alluding to. Not quite hitting a new all-time high, but getting pretty close. 210.92, up about 8.40 or a little over 4% today. So NVIDIA popping hard on apparently more buyers than sellers out there. 1.75 million contracts on the tape for them. So wild stuff. It's also been a wild time on the old earnings front. We got more hot stuff popping off this week. So if you're down for a little bit of earnings skullduggery, then this is another fun week for you. Speaking of skullduggery, after the bell, we got Palantir accounting for some of that wild move today. And you know, if Palantir is not wild enough for you, some of the hardy souls in our pro chat love slinging this name. This is Hims. This one, absolutely wild. Not for the faint of heart at all, listeners. We were talking on Friday on Oddities with Overby about $22 covered calls and wild stuff out here in this name. Hims after the bell, trading nearly $45 right now. Could easily be $20 away from that come tomorrow morning. We shall see. Just absolutely wild stuff out here for good old Hims. Those are both after the bell. Yes, tomorrow we've got Uber and Spotify, and we're just talking about them, Beyond Meat, and then Rivian. Brian was taking an interesting and quite a dim view on Rivian on Friday on Oddities. So again, check out the Pro if you want to hear that. But he was doing some interesting put diving on Rivian, which is kind of fascinating. Rivian rewarding him a little bit today, 13.30 off about a quarter today. They have earnings coming up tomorrow. Can't tell on this chart if they're before or after the bell, but they are popping off tomorrow on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we've got Mickey D's, Robinhood, AMC, Snap, Lyft, TKO. They have UFC and WWE infamy. Thursday, Warner Brothers Discovery, they're kind of in play, so that's a little bit of a weird one. And then DraftKings out there. And then Friday, Wendy's and Six Flags, apparently one of the subsidiaries of the Kelsey Empire now. And Duke Energy, a.k.a. the Duck. So lots of wild stuff on the docket. If you can't find something to trade this week, you are just not paying attention out there, listeners. We will have updated earnings move results. We do have updated earnings. So actually, no, I take it back. We do have updated earnings move results for you here. We're looking at, these are most of the names, obviously not much popping off this morning. So a lot of it is from last week. Let's go out to some of the names I was just talking about popping off after the bell today. We've got Hims. Yes, Hims is after the bell today. They're at 45.5 when we ran this report this morning. Oh, look, they're pricing in 603. In the past, they've moved 603. You don't see that very often. Pricing in exactly as much as it's moved in the past. Again, not a large sample size with Hims, so it makes some sense that the market makers would adhere to recent history, but it is kind of funny to see it out there. And then Palantir after the bell today. They were at 200.5 when we ran this report. They were pricing in $18.71. In the past, they've moved $34.31. That's a bit of a wild one. You're talking nearly a 50% haircut. I need to go back and dig. That's a trailing 12-quarter average. So they obviously have a couple aberrant moves really baked in there that may be skewing that number a little bit. I don't think they're giving up a 50% haircut on their vol. If that is the case, then you should scoop it with both hands. But yeah, I need to do a little bit of digging into what is the origin of that, what cycle really drove that outlier for that past move number. Let's go out to Uber. They are tomorrow before the bell. 96.5 is where they were trading. They're pricing in 633. In the past, they moved 602, so pretty much in line with their past action as well. AMD, they've kind of been all over the place of late. When we ran this report this morning, 256.12. They're popping off on the 4th after the bell as well. They're pricing in 18.75. In the past, they've moved 17.32, so about $1.40 worth of extra juice out there. Is that merited? You know, these days, more vol than less seems to pay off, unless you were long straddles on Fed Day last week, in which case the SPX closed literally unched. So if you gritted your teeth throughout the rest of the session, you actually did shockingly well on that trade, which is kind of wild. Mara, a name we've been talking about a lot these days, was at 18.25 when we talked about selling puts on this last week. I think I have some short puts in my back pocket in this one right now. $1.37 is what they were pricing in the past. They moved to $1.58, so a little bit less juice on the docket for Mara, which is kind of interesting. Let's just look really quickly right now. Where is Mara hanging out? Mara hanging out 1806. So interesting stuff out there. A lot more of these for you. TheOptionsInsider.com is the place to go to learn more. All this data for free because we love you. But right now we got to keep on rolling. It is time to get odd. It is time for the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by TheOptionsInsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
All right, let's get weird. Let's get wild. Let's Let's kick it off with a newcomer, shall we? To the show. This is KNSA Pharmaceuticals International PLC. So you see PLC, you know it's probably coming out of the old UK. Ticker symbol KNSA or KNSA. The trading $36.93, off about a dime today. So not a wild day out there for them. They had an earnings, looks like recently, just had their stock rating lowered by some analysts. So I guess earnings were not a banger. That said, it's been a banger year. $21.50 a year ago, trading $36.93 today, up nearly 72% on the year. Most of that straight up. They got up to about 41 and a quarter. Looks like last week before their earnings kind of clipped them a little bit, but it's been a hell of a year for this name. So who needs AI? KNSA Pharmaceuticals is the place to be. It looks like Mr. Rock Lobster. We got somebody coming in this morning and saying, you know what? I think there's a little bit more upside to be had in this name, but I would like it to be some limited upside. I'm not going to swing for the fences. I'm going to swing for, let's say, a nice ground rule double, because they came in this morning and scooped the Nove 40-45 call spread, and they did it, looks like 1,750 times. Now, that said, I say bought, but these markets are such an atrocity. They could very well have sold this thing. And you know what? I might like it better that way, just looking at these prices. The market they got on the Nove 40s, again, Mr. Rock Lobster, if we could have made markets like this, I think you and I would still be wearing our funky jackets. This market was 20 cents at $3.60. Just think about that for a second. You're standing there in your pit, whoever, Schwab, Goldman comes walking in. They say, no 40s, KNSA, how are they? You say, 20 cents at 360. How fast until the fist flies at your face for that market, sir?
I'm just trying to think of like some guy like Jimmy, the guy that ran Schwab, or any of those guys. He just would take his whole deck and throw it at you, maybe.
I don't see Ogre from Schwab back in the day, or from Goldman putting up with any of that nonsense.
just throw the deck at your head.
Hit you in the head with his handheld and walk away.
Like, really?
So 20 cents at 360. And then the market on the Nove 45s was no bid, because they wouldn't even dare to show a nickel. They're not nickel bid for these. No bid at 85 cents. And the spread went up for exactly $1, Mr. Rock Lobster. So I guess it's up to us. It's a pick'em which way we think they did it and which way we like it better. And you know what? Why the hell not? Sell this thing for $1.
You see that stuff and it just warms the cockles of your heart, doesn't it? See that market go up. My guess here is this would be some kind of speculative buying paper in KNSA Pharmaceuticals. Like generally this, I don't know, it feels a little more like retail spec buying. My only thing is, like, if you're trying to buy it spec, why even bother selling the 45s? You know, if you're buying the 40s. So, like, you would think, my first thought would be it goes that way. But now the 40 calls are offered at 185, which leads me to believe that maybe they're trying to entice more buyers somehow in here. I have to say this. I'm a pick 'em on this one. It's a hard. It's not super easy for me on this, I have to say. So, yeah, like I don't see the market maker want to pay 52 cents for the 45s on it at all. Like, why would you even think to do that? Why not pay a dime? So let's see. So that way, if the retail is buying the 45s, then they're selling the 40s. So it ultimately, if I'm thinking human nature, it looks like retail is trying to sell that spread for $1, or the customer's selling the spread for the $1.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going with.
That's the way I like it better. I just love the pricing on it too. $1.52, and somebody came in and said, "I got an order for $1." They said, "Okay, we'll get you done." They don't give them real prices. They don't say like, I don't know, how about $1.50. Nope. It's got to be $1.52.
Yeah.
And 52. This whole thing is incredibly stupid. Anyway, it goes. The markets are terrible. The execution is absurd. Everything about it just rubs me the wrong way, which is, again, why we feature it in the odd block. And on top of that, maybe you like this spread, listen, maybe you want to buy it for $1, or probably you want to sell it for $1 and then say the hell with you. So terrible. Or maybe you want to avoid any name where they give you a market of 20 cents at 360. Just stay away. Not exactly retail friendly, let's say. As we keep on rolling out to another name, this one vaguely familiar. Maybe we touched on it a while ago. This is AMKR Technology Inc. Ticker symbol AMKR, AMKR. This is a semi-packaging and test services provider. So there you go. $37.39, up $5.16, or about 16% today. So good day for them. Looks like they had some earnings recently, and I guess the street liked what they heard. On the year, it's kind of been a mixed bag. They're up $11.43, or about 44%. So that is good. They were drifting up. The first half of the year was kind of rough. They went from $26 down to 15. So they got cut almost in half. And then after April 8th, they've been pretty much rallying ever since. They got up to about $32 last Thursday. And then, of course, this next leg up now on the back of this earnings or whatever it drove this, taking them all the way up to $37.50. Looks like that's a new 52-week high. I'm not sure if that's a new all-time high. It looks like it's pretty close if it's not quite. Looks like they got a little bit higher. They got up to $42 in July of 2024, but pretty darn lofty level. And you know what, Mr. Rock Lobster? Somebody came in this morning and said, you know what? I don't think the party is over. I think the party has just begun. They said, no 40s, how are they? They got a comparatively reasonable compared to that last one, 85 cents at $1. You know, you could work with that market, listeners. And they said, you know what? Stock was $37.10. I will pay $1, good sir. 1,658 times. At the time, that was a new 52-week high for the stock. It has obviously exceeded that since. No earnings, obviously. They just had earnings, so the next announcement looks like it's on February 9th. So looks like you're just rolling the dice on some more momentum to the upside through earnings. What do you think, Mr. Rock Lobster? You down for a little bit of AMKR love?
Rolling them bones higher, huh?
That seems to be the case, sir.
Well, what's funny, the stock's up $5 today, and it looks like they want more of it. And what's funny is I can't remember a semiconductor company, anything even related to semiconductor, that has AI in the description of the company, and it's only at a 26 PE, and that's with the stock of $5. So, interesting. They do outsource semiconductor packaging and test services, whatever that means. But they seem to like it today, and they like it to go higher. So I guess this is just the story of some kind of semi-related stock making an all-time high here late in the year. Can it go to 40? Why not? It just traded up. $5 on 3 seconds here, so easily could happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I just checked while you were talking, and we have not talked about that officially on the network. So that is indeed in the newcomer category as well. As we keep on rolling through a name we did just talk about, let's get out of here with a little bit of a review before we get to Uncle Mike's silver madness for the episode. Let's go back about a month to the October 2nd show. Let's drink a little rum, shall we? Ticker symbol RUM, R-U-M. This is Rumble Inc. It is a video rights platform. There you go. Trading $6.36. Taking it today off 50 cents or 7.25%. So not exactly a banger day for them. On the year, it was looking good. Now they're only up about 60 cents or about 10% on the year. They did get as high as $17.40 back in December of last year. So they had a little bit of euphoria around the Rumble. This name seems a little bit memey to me. But we talked about it about a month ago on the show. We said, hey, somebody was swinging for a little bit of upside. The stock was $7.53. They came in to buy the SEP 8s. They got a dime at 15, said I will pay 15 cents, 4,639 times. And the SEP 8s expiring on the 26th, 1,265 times. And they paid a quarter for those bad boys. And it looks like Mr. Rock Lobster, they kind of swung and missed on both of these The stock closed on the 26th at $7.14. Those 8s were still open. And I don't have the exact print for the September expiration, but I do know it was lower than the 8 strike out there. Let's see. September 19th for rum. Fast I can get it. There we go. $7.69. So these 8s were all still open as well. So they dropped 15 cents there, 25 cents on the other ones. They dropped close to 100 grand kind of on both of these bad boys. So not exactly a great do. They were swinging for the upside. They were drinking a little bit too much rum on rum, Mr. Rock Lobster, and it looks like it came back to bite.
Yeah, I believe Rumble is the YouTube alternative.
How many of those have gone to die? I remember Vimeo from a few years ago, right?
Yeah. Vimeo is actually still a viable platform.
Yeah, they're still around. They just never became what everyone wanted them to be.
Right. Well, I mean, it's it's one of those things where, like, YouTube is so ubiquitous at this point. But it doesn't mean that other platforms can make it. But I think this is one where they're going to have a hard time. They can make it. They can make it for sure, and it comes in fits and spurts. But I think it looks like wow, this is pretty good dough, and it appears to be all gone.
Yep.
At this point,
they wasted some dough drinking some rum. But you know what, listeners? You never waste your dough when you listen to the Strategy Block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the Strategy Block.
All right, Mr. Uncle Mike, you teased us at the top of the show. You're going to give us a full 10-minute breakdown on your official offensive line playbook for your upcoming playoff game. Have at it, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, if you want that literally will be far longer than 10 minutes. That I guarantee. But with that being said, let's talk about silver. So today is kind of a bittersweet, momentous day for me because for the first time in probably since the option block ever happened, I would say 98% of my silver exposure for my clients is no longer there.
You sold your silver?
I sold a very vast, I'd have to check it. I'll say at least 95% of silver is sold right now.
Holy crap. I don't even know what to say to you at this point. First, you bail on your Apple, and that was a core holding, but you always had silver in the back pocket for a rainy day, and now that is gone. I think less of you now, sir.
Well, no, just the truth be told, Apple always has and still is a core holding. That just went from Apple just went up so fast in the early days, it became an insanity holding. And it went from being an insanity holding to a core holding. But the bad news about that is that because of the insanity holding that we had in Apple, it made for a lot of great content on the show with those Apple collars and you and the greasy meatball taking pot shots at me and me saying, well, but it's Apple, and Apple would go up and we'd move on to the next show. So that's no longer, but silver's always been a core holding. And so the concept of what I've had with silver through the years it's kind of been a bond alternative, if you will, meaning that if you want to have some investment in your portfolio that's more conservative and has some type of downside protection, whatever the case may be. Most advisors use that space for bonds. I use it in some cases for bonds, but silver has always been an alternative in the conservative side of the portfolio, just due to the option skew that's existed on it. And so what happened a couple of weeks ago, silver went through 39, which is where our long-term covered call was on it. And I highlighted this on the strategy block, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure when, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We closed out the covered call position for $38.72, meaning even though we had another 3 months to go or whenever January expiration was at the time, we left 28 cents on the table. Because we would have gotten called away at 39 had we held it till expiration and if it were above 39 at expiration. However, we left the 28 cents on the table, but we were able to sell the 39 put at the same time frame for $1.01. So we essentially took on the same risk because we still had the long put as a hedge, but we got 71 cents or whatever it was of free money, if you will, because we had the same risk. Because as any of our veteran listeners know, covered calls and short puts are the same risk reward on a synthetic standpoint. So we just switched the position. And so what happened is that as time is going by, we're actually slightly lower right now by a few pennies. Silver went up, silver went down, but it's slightly lower than when I did the old switcheroo, so to speak, of going from covered call to short put. And I got out of that today for 57 cents. So basically what I was able to do, now this isn't the same for the taxable accounts, but for the IRA accounts, what I was able to do is go forward in time. We didn't take on any additional risk. We just saw that the puts were trading more than the calls. So we switched from calls to puts. We created a synthetic position of the same thing, and we created a lot of free money out of it. And so to honor Doc Brown and Marty McFly, we went forward in time by 74 days, meaning we were able to get out at 57 cents today. This is the same profit, slightly more actually, than had we held until January expiration and got called away at 39. So we got to take our risk off the table 72 days or whatever it is early, and we're still getting slightly more profit because of the fact that we saw and took advantage of the heightened volatility in the puts. The heightened volatility in the puts is not there today. Because over the course of 3 weeks, there's no way it lost half of its value, especially when the underlying went down slightly. So that's an obvious case of volatility becoming less, at least in the January 39 puts. So that's what we did. In the time being, what we're looking to do is I'm just keeping some money in money market, keeping some powder dry, waiting for another opportunity. Because my sentiment on silver, I've been telling people it's going to show up like a thief in the night for 10 years. Anyone that's been listening to this show knows that. The thief has come. The last time silver was in the 40s like it is right now, it went down, and it went down very, very quickly. So I think there's more. I think it's had its day for the time being. Not going to say I'm never going to get into it ever again, but I don't like it at these levels. And the fact that, let's say silver does go up to 70 over the course of the next year, okay, we will have missed it. But we were able to get clients roughly a 40% profit with no risk in their conservative section of their portfolio for 2025. And I'm pretty happy with that. So that's my sentiment on it right now. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about when I go on TWIFO anymore. So I'll have to come up with some other commodity skew or something. I don't know, but that's what's going on.
Wow. I don't know what to say to you anymore. No more silver bearing down your back pocket over there, Mr. Uncle Mike. You've had that for about as long as I've known you. You've had silver in the old back pocket. So it's kind of wild. You have a little bit of more spring in your step now. So maybe you'll be diving into copper next. Maybe you'll be feasting on lean hogs or live cattle or some other wild product. Or maybe you'll just start selling puts in silver again and you'll get back in at a lower level. But yeah, that's absolutely wild. The biggest silver bull I know, at least for right now, is out. As we are almost out, it's time to go around the block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, everybody, welcome to Around the Block, the portion of the show where we go around the block, tell you what we're keeping an eye on for the rest of this week. Really quickly, let's pay off our flash polls at the top of the show. We asked you D's 18 puts for $1.26, buyer or sold to you. Once again, you folks cannot make up your mind on any D's VIX trade, 50-50 exactly right now, which is kind of wild. You were a little bit more unanimous on the PE of the S&P. 51.2% of you saying that's spooking the hell out of you right now. That is crazy. 22% saying no, you don't care. 14.6% say no because AI changes the game. 12.2% say you're long, but you're whistling past the graveyard. Probably having a hard time sleeping at night. And then along those lines, our question of the week for this week, that one's expiring in a few seconds. The one that just went live right before the show for this week is along those same lines. How are you approaching the SPX or SPY in your portfolio right now? Gave you 4 choices. You're just straight long, riding SPY or SPX, or you're hedged but with a long put, or you're in a stock sub, so you're swapped out some underlying for a long call, or you've reduced your position and heading into cash. Mr. Rock Lobster, what are you keeping an eye on for the rest of this week, sir? If you have any thoughts on what people are doing in the SPX right now, have at it. And then where should folks go if they want more Rock Lobster goodness in their lives?
Well, you go to optionpit.com. And we have this little election thing happening. We'll see what happens. We could, interesting stuff in New York, new mayor potentially. We'll see how that all goes down. Free rent for free bus rides. Sorry, free bus rides. Can't wait to go back to New York for the free bus rides. This week, I don't know. We have no data coming out. It's hard. So maybe we'll have some earnings. But I think we're just sit here and we just watch the shutdown battle go up on Twitter. And I think that's kind of what we got for this week. There's always could be a surprise. We have that single digit VIX president once again. So any tweet can move things. As of right now, I think we're going to get a lot of the same for this week. So it's a good week to look for stocks that the market doesn't like currently and for some opportunity going to the end of the year.
There you go. Check them out. Optionpit.com to learn more. Mr. Uncle Mike, our chat is speculating that now that you're out of silver, you are full in on Shiba Inu. So can you confirm or deny those rumors? And then what you keep an eye on for the rest of the week? And then where should folks go if they want more Uncle Mike goodness in their lives?
I can neither confirm nor deny the rumors on Shiba Inu. Are there even options on Shiba Inu? Maybe I'd consider that.
In some esoteric platform out of like Bangladesh, maybe, but the underlying's a fraction of a cent. I don't think you need a lot of options on it.
Oh, okay. Well, then why bother? So, yeah, I mean, if I can't do options on it, I mean, what's the point? So with that, yeah, if you are looking for a financial advisor who actually does stuff and changes things when things happen, silver is living proof today, a 10-year plan at least. Feel free to reach out to me, stcharleswealth.com. Would love to have a conversation with any of our listeners, and we will chat.
Hit them up. stcharleswealth.com is the place to go. If you want more Uncle Mike, stay tuned. He will be joining us tomorrow on the Pro Q&A, so all you folks in the Pro can check that out for yourselves. I'm sure a lot of you probably have questions about silver and the metals going forward, so start getting those in now on the Pro for our session with Uncle Mike tomorrow. If you want to join that, only place you can go, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. Get past the velvet rope, that bodyguard, she is pretty nasty. Once you get past her, you can have all the fun there in the Pro. Maybe you win the November Pro Trading Crate. We shall see. Speaking of the Pro, if you're hanging out there, just hang out. I'll be back in a little bit with the crypto rundown. I'll be joined with the folks from Sovereign AI. So we're going to talk maybe a little bit of the intersection of AI and crypto, all the buzzwords coming together. Should be a fascinating one. So stay tuned for that on the crypto rundown. Then we're ending the day with a freshly revamped, intriguing new The Hot Options Report. Stay tuned for that. Should be fun. And then back again tomorrow. Like I said, Uncle Mike in hand. Maybe we'll talk what's next after the death of the 10-plus year silver collar. Well, I don't know. Whatever you folks want to talk about. That's who runs the show on the Pro Q&A, you folks. Then back again on Wednesday for a little bit of OBC as well as the Futures Rundown. And then back again on Thursday, Flowmaster in hand. Another episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.